welcome to a new podcast episode today with Monika Sattler, aka Moni. Welcome, Monika.
Thank you.
And with Amadeo, as always, and with me, Arno Loginview from Kitoko People. We're really looking forward to this podcast. It was a long time since we did the last. Amadeo, help me. When was the last podcast we did?
Yeah, it must be somewhere in December, busy season. So we had a lot of time to, enjoy the podcast free time. But now I'm very much looking forward, and I'm very glad that you're here, Moni, and that you are out here listening with us, guys.
Yes, welcome. We really postponed everything in December because there was something coming, between the podcasts. So we're really glad to do it now. And Moni, welcome you here on the podcast today. How do you feel? Where did you come from?
I just came from home. I live in Bern too. So just 10-minute tram ride to get here.
Really nice. So a warm welcome also from us. I just checked beforehand what you do. I found it really interesting that you're really into topics like self-confidence, courage, also goal setting, which is really important, I think, not just in sports, but also in business. And I think this will be the focus of today. I'm really looking forward to have an exchange, to have a deeper conversation about these topics. And you guys can decide in which direction you would like, with which topic. We have, and I'm really curious how you want to start.
I would be very curious to learn more about you. Who are you, Moni? So we've seen each other a couple of times, but just briefly, and who are you?
That's a big question. Just right now I do have my own business in Bern. I'm originally from Germany. I've lived in the States for 9 years. I lived in Spain, in Australia, and now in Switzerland the second time. I've studied international security with a focus on nuclear weapons in North Korea and Iran. I also studied sports. I used to be also a management consultant for an IT company. So let's say that my CV is not quite linear, but now actually I'm a executive mindset coach. I help others, especially individuals, teams, leaders, to set and pursue meaningful and fulfilling goals. And I do that in regards to coaching, online trainings. I give keynotes. So broad spectrum. And on the side, I'm also a cyclist, and I have projects which I'm showcasing through the project what it means to set and pursue goals.
Really interesting, I think, Amadeo. We are also coming from a football background. So we used to play a lot of football here after Brighton Rhine, and there I think we learned a lot how to set goals and how to look forward to a match, like to a battle against opponents. And I think it's a little bit different in cycling. You're more individual. Moni is shaking with the head. So I would say it's more individual, but how would you describe that, like cycling, when we relate it to team sports, kind of?
Yeah. So the projects I'm doing is I'm building up a team, and then I just did that a few months ago. 124 Swiss passes in 26 days. That was a cycling record. And just a few months before, and I think it was 6, I decided to do that, and I built up a team of 5 people to make this project happen. So it's a huge team effort to do it. Yes, I do ride by myself then alone those passes, but behind that was a good team to help me to get through that.
Okay, so you drove the record with them, or they just helped you to come through this record, or?
Yeah, so one person was, for example, responsible for the hotel organization. Another person was a driver behind me. I had a support vehicle, making food, the media was part of it. So every person had a function, but I was riding alone in the passes.
I really liked your introduction, and I didn't know all of this. So from North Korea to other countries, and I have a very broad impression of what you were doing, and how do you see the correlation between all these, or how did these different settings or circumstances shape your personality?
Oh, that's another big question. I must say, all of those, I have to back up. When I moved to the States, I always knew like sports is my life. At that point, it was volleyball. And I wanted to always say I want to become a secret. I always watched too much James Bond because I wanted to go into the Bundesnachrichtendienst, a German secret service. It did not work out, but that's why I studied international security. And I worked afterwards for the International Monetary Fund and then for the World Bank in Washington, D.C. And while I was working, someone handed me a bike in my hand and said, Monika, you should ride a bike. And I was like, it must be pretty boring, right? I'm coming from a team sport here, I'm riding a bike. But then that person knew me and invited me to a 50-kilometer ride. And I thought I'm somewhat fit, from volleyball. After 5K, I was out the peloton and realized, oh, wow, this is not how I can leave the sport. And I showed up there every single week until I made those 50K. And after 1.5 years, I had to make a decision. Do I want to have a tax-free career with the World Bank, or do I want to become a professional cyclist? And my friends, family, they told me, no-brainer, obviously, tax-free career at the World Bank. But for some reason, and that's how I realized that I'm following and pursuing my passion the entire time in my life. I went for professional cycling, went back to Germany, raced first league for 3 months, only to realize this is not what I wanted. And I thought it was a huge failure for me to just quit something big, to do something which I did not like either. And but I knew sport is my passion, so I went back to the States, studied sports with a big goal. Now I find a career in sports. Didn't find it. And my friends, family said, Monika, now you should go back to the right career track, do what everyone else should, what you should be doing. And since I couldn't find the right sports job and career, I applied anywhere for anything, and I became a management consultant for IBM. First in Switzerland, in Zurich, in fact, actually, and then I moved with the same job to Australia. And it was interesting, but it was not my passion. And then I was sitting with 30, unemployed, in a botanical garden in Melbourne, Australia, and thinking, great, Monika, now I've studied so many things, I've been to quite a few places, I still don't know what I want. And I decided, since I didn't have any attachments, that I'd just do a reset, restart, and see what is my passion in my, especially professional passion. And then I moved to Spain, decided to move to Spain to restart and look for that answer, what I want. And then I found that there's so many people out there who are actually in the same position than me, but didn't want to take those risks to pursue their passions, to go outside their comfort zone, to take those risks. And that became my mission. And that was in 2018. And to showcase, and since cycling, sports is such a nice way to showcase what it means to go outside your comfort zone, to pursue your challenges, I decided to set my first cycling record, riding as the first woman, the Vuelta a España, the Tour of Spain. And then half a year ago, I did my second cycling record. And I used those records, those cycling projects, which are all team projects, to showcase what it means to push your limits, to reach your full potential. And I guess that is that red thread you were asking me, Amadeo, what I'm all about.
Okay. You took some very bold decisions, it seemed, and it's a big question for the people out there. You should listen to your heart, follow your passion, but I observed that many people are strongly influenced by others, or also your family back then was influencing you. It should be a no-brainer, take this and that decision. So what specifically helped you when taking this bold decision?
I think for me, it showed I did take that normal career track, and I didn't like it. I was I went home every day, and the only thing what I did is went to go shopping, watched a series of TV, and then I went to bed. And then I was wondering, really, Monika, that's it? That's what's supposed to be my life for another at least 35 years? And I knew at that point I had to make a change if I want to enjoy my life and really use that what I can do, my capabilities. And that meant jumping into the deep water and trying to find something different, something new. And now I'm so glad I've done that. And you're also getting used to getting outside your comfort zone. I wouldn't recommend anyone just by chance moving to the other side of the world, but sometimes it's just small little things to get outside and see what you can do, what else you can do. And from there you grow and learn about getting outside your comfort zone. And all of a sudden it's big steps and you don't even realize it.
Really interesting. But then also when I was traveling for 9 months through South America, which was really also inspiring, sometimes I had this feeling of being alone at the place, of maybe regretting that I decided like this. Yeah. What helped you in this situation, to get used to that? Because for me, sometimes it was hard, like, of course, I'm exploring, I'm growing throughout the travel. I'm learning Spanish. I get to know new cultures, but still, I had the feeling sometimes, hey Arno, is this the right thing? Should I go back? Maybe maybe you have some answers for the audience.
I think it's very important to have a basis, but not a physical base, but more like a emotional base. And that was my family. Yes, they told me I should do like the normal career track, but I knew when something is up, I can always call my dad and say, hey dad, something is up. And he would help me out or give me also that emotional comfort that everything is fine, that I always have a home. So that made me also it's like going further and further because I knew I can always come back. And if I felt like homesick, then I just go home, visit my family, and then that's good. And I'm ready to go and explore more. Yeah.
And also question is, the decision you made, they were always for you and yourself. I really love that. But then if we go, for example, if you talk about the love life or building up friendship, like how you have or how is that topic for you, or of course we have all the friendships who are over the countries, and then sometimes I meet people from other countries which I never saw, but I feel like, hey, this seems like a brother or sister, I feel like I've knew them for 10 years, but still, to build up relationships. How do you think? How was the impact of your decision, which were really for yourself? How did they influence your friendships, or your relations? Don't have to be. Don't have to talk about love now. Maybe it's too private, but just
Yeah, I think everything when you are out there and exposing yourself, you're living everything more intensely. So which means also the friendships, the relationships, no matter in what way, you're making are way more intense. I think nowadays when we're living just in our comfort zone, all the relationships are sometimes quite superficial. But when you're out there and okay, this person, you meet them completely different. And then yes, you maybe met them just, let's say, a few months, a few weeks, but it's a different relationship, what you just also mentioned, than someone who you would meet maybe here, and you just see that person every day. And that's what I discovered. It's not the time you spend together, but what you use with that time you spend together.
But you never felt lonely?
Of course, in the beginning, when I moved first to the States, man, I was crying the entire 8 hours from Munich to the States, or even longer. That, of course, I had to get used to. But then once you're out there and always there's something at home, I didn't feel like homesick. And otherwise, yes, there were days where I was like, okay, might as well just be in Germany and everything would be nice instead of I'm exposing myself here to new ideas, to new regions, to new cultures. But then I always remind myself also, if I'm at home now, how long would it take me until I get bored? And then I know, okay, yes, that means outside the comfort zone, and you're getting used to it.
Yeah, I liked your question somehow, Arno, because it triggered myself as well. Because last weekend I had a really nice conversation with one of my best friends, Nina. So if you're listening, thanks that you're always giving me very honest and straightforward feedback. She told me that I'm very much clear in my decisions, and that sometimes she feels that I prioritize my needs over others' needs. So when you said that, you asked that question. I think it's a very thin line. If you take decisions for yourself, it might be a conflict to others' needs, and this thin line somehow was very interesting. I don't know if you could understand what I want to express with that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's also yes. I think there's a balance is very important. That yes, it's that you feel good, because when you feel good, then you can make other people also feel good. It's very tough to create like a happy life if you actually inside yourself not happy. And I think also when you are out there and looking for life in that sense, you taking that also to other people, and then there's also a different relationship again to those people. And yes, maybe you're traveling then away for a while, but maybe inspiring and then motivating those people around you to do something similar, to discovering themselves as well.
And if you're now at the topic of goal setting, did you ever set yourself goals that damaged you in a way, or that were so motivating that it went to the other way to demotivate you? Because for me, you're really fast thinking, you're really focused, you strive for your goals, you help people to strive for their goals. But sometimes I think there are topics in life where you just chill, and it's also nice to not having goals, like how do you think that?
Yeah.
Or like
for me, what I realize is especially the balance between sports and business. I personally can't do both 100%. Like having like both super strong goals, either sports or business. And for example, when I did a 124 Swiss passes challenge for half a year, that was my goal. I can't focus on the other goals. And now it's more like I love my business, so I focus that. And this year it will be, yes, I do still cycling challenges, but nothing which takes now half a year. So I think it's also about knowing where you want to put your energy to it and what comes out of it. I'm telling you right now all the goals just I have achieved, but maybe those were actually not the original goals. They have changed also along the way, and you're learning and adapting along the way if that is really the goal you want to achieve. And adapt. Maybe external factors, for example, the 120 Swiss 4 passes challenge was also I created it because I knew I wasn't sure if Corona, another Corona wave hits, and I did not want to have any inter-country border crossings because that could mean maybe borders are closed and that was it. So then I'm adapting the goals according to also what I'm thinking where I could succeed.
That's a very interesting point you're mentioning. So when I think about goals, it's something very fixed. So it can be also very fixed in our mind. And now you said, we also need this capability of adapting to our own goals. So what kind of skills do you actually need to realize that you're maybe not on the right path and you need to adjust? Because this sometimes is not so easy. Very,
very good point, Amadeo. I have to say now, from all the failures and successes, I've learned like a certain path, how I'm defining now my own goals, to know like, okay, is that actually the goal I wanted? And a lot of people, when they're talking about courage, resilience, I feel like they're talking more on the surface of goals. The deeper, the question should be not what is my goal, but who am I? And then the goals will be then built upon from who we are. What are my strengths? What are my motivations? What are my values? By the way, also the online courses and the talks are exactly about that, because a lot of people don't ask themselves anymore who they are actually. And once you know that, then you can look at, those are my strengths. What goals can I define that actually work with my strength? But if you define goals and you don't even know do they match with who I am, it's a wild western. Go for it and see if it works or not.
Okay.
So I think starting with self-reflection, always not regularly asking yourself, hey, is this really who I am? Where on the path I am? And if you have that regular check-in with yourself, then you know if you're on the right path or not.
Yeah, and I'm heading back to the goal setting and sometimes to the failure. How would you describe failure for yourself?
Failure is not for me like a non-existent of success. It's more if I give up before trying. Because failure does not mean usually not if I made the goal or not. That is just happening. Maybe oftentimes there are external factors we can't influence, right? And that's it. But it's more about, did I put all my energy and everything what I had, my full potential basically, into pursuing this goal? Or just did I try to half-ass it, sorry for my language, to get there? Or did I give up because I felt too uncomfortable with it? And that is more like a failure. And then if you go for it and you just go with 100% motivated and towards your goals, then you can actually never fail.
It's an interesting question, about setting goals. I mean, Arno, you mentioned at the beginning, we learned that in soccer. I was just asking myself from where did it came? So this strong ambition inside of me that I sometimes also feel, and that sometimes can also be in my way. So sometimes I also really admire people that are from the outside, maybe not so self-reflected, but their life looks pretty, also easy, And if you want to really learn about yourself, this is a strong process, and I imagine you're also working with a lot of executives in a very daily business and a competitive business. How would you describe this environment? Is it a big openness for these topics, or is there the working labor market still way behind?
In regards to coaching on those topics, of course there is a hesitancy oftentimes, because when we think of especially business coaching, just about the business part. But that person needs to lead the business. There are things like focus, self-confidence, things especially for people where you might think that person definitely has no problem with confidence. Exactly, those people there's a tendency, a big problem with confidence. And because they appear confident, they don't want to, talk to other people that they might not be confident. And that's usually oftentimes as an external partner, basically help those people, building up actually the skills they might not want to, they want to hide in their around them in their environment if they... to succeed, basically. I don't know if that just makes sense.
No, it's definitely answered my question. And when I was listening to you mentioned a few times it's about confidence, or level of confidence, and I would also strongly agree on that. And I'm sure some of the listeners outside, they would love to see how you can actually gain more self-confidence, because I feel this is a very deep-rooted, can be a very deep-rooted problem, and not so easy to build. So how does self-confidence build over time, or what can you do?
It goes back to basically, who are you? You can, I think, this is my opinion, you can only be confident when you actually know what you can be confident about. And that means actually self-reflection first. Like, what are your strengths? What are your motivations? What are your values? Once you have that basis, then you can be also confident about those abilities, capabilities, and utilize those. It's tough to be strong or confident in your private or business life when you don't actually know what's actually behind me, and what's in me, what I can showcase and what I'm confident about.
So you're mentioning it's all about like self-awareness, and would you also say there are other factors that can be boundaries in order to improve your self-confidence, or like maybe external factors, or
of course,
disturbance?
I would turn the question around. I would more say people surrounding yourself with people who support you definitely helps with confidence. To have a mirror, someone who shows, hey, look what you can actually do, that helps with confidence. But first of all, being aware of yourself, and then surrounding yourself with people who actually see that, what you are. What you can do.
It's really about the network too, which I always, every day I'm grateful to have a network which exactly gives you the mirror, as you said. I think that's a really important thing. And I found it interesting also about failure. When I think back on the football pitch, we definitely had so many losses, and to get used to that is a really important thing. I think it's really important to learn also, and to not see the failure too much just on your own person, instead of, hey, we were a team, let's reflect, and let's talk about what we can improve for the next time. And I think in this way failure has a huge potential. And that is really interesting in sports, and I think that you need us all three here at the table. And today I think I learned also that cycling is not just a one-man show, one girl show, one woman show. No, it's you had a team, and that was really inspiring. Yeah. And maybe also when we look at the time to come to an end, you talked about a lot of external factors which have a huge influence on yourself, and you also had to fight a lot with social norms. You said I saw it on your webpage. What do you mean, or do you have examples of the social norms which really influences you, and what helps you to get on with them?
I mean, I guess one of the things was quitting that World Bank career job, right?
Yeah, you already said that. Okay. Yeah.
To do then something which does not fit at all into that typical career path one is supposed to do. But what helped me is also, again, this sounds so cheesy, but it's so true. Listening to your heart, understanding, okay, what do I want on this earth? What do I want to achieve? Life is so damn short, right? It makes no sense to please others if you're unhappy. And I think to really being aware of that every day, what do you want to really do, right? And I believe also the more you align with your own, again, strength, motivations, and values, the more you can also give back, right? It makes no sense to do a job which actually does not... where you can't reach your full potential with it. So, and if that means doing something completely different, which does not align with the social norm, oftentimes it's like that. What I realized when I became self-employed, and all of a sudden I went into the supermarket like at 10 a.m. in the morning, where I'm supposed to sit on the desk, and type. I was like, who else is out here? And then I realized there are other people out there who are actually the same boat than me, right? But you never see them because you are in the office and actually working on your desk. So there are always people out there who are actually in a similar or same boat as you are.
When I'm listening to you, I can really feel also this American spirit, and it reminded me a lot about the time I had in New York. I was living there half a year, and somehow I don't know, the attitude, the motivation, the energy felt quite similar to what I experienced there. And I don't know if, it's also a cultural thing that self-confidence might not be as strong in Switzerland as in other cultures. Would you agree on that, or is this a weak hypothesis?
I would say it comes across differently everywhere. At the end of the day, I would call self-confidence meaning confident about yourself. How you display it then, and that means it's just an inner thing for yourself, right? It does not mean how it comes across to others. And that's why I wouldn't generalize things or put into different cultures. It's more like, how much are you aligned with yourself?
That's a nice sentence, and still I need to think about a very good friend of mine who's a dancer, and he told me he's a breaker. In Switzerland it took him 1 year to go into the cycle and show what you can do. And when he was telling me when he was in New York, he met some people after 3 trainings, they went into the cycle, and of course they felt comfortable, and in order to really grow, it was much easier for them. And I really like this example. So I would also say, culture can have a strong influence on your self-confidence, but I would definitely agree, if you're aligned with yourself about your values, strengths, then things are more smooth.
It's interesting when you're talking about that. This is one point, but I also think what we did, like crushing our roles in Bern, where we come from, and Amadeo, we are all from here, and we found it. And a lot of people, they told us, why you are doing that now? And I think sometimes it's harder to actually crush the borders, kind of this in your close to your friends or in the city where you come from instead of another country. So I think founding in an own city was kind of harder because if you go out it's easy, you know. Okay, my name is Arno. I could tell them I'm an IT and I'm head of IT, you know, and they would get interesting. So this is also a point I would add was really interesting. So Moni, maybe at the end, like to come to an end, my question will be tell us 3 values which are really important for you, because we talked a lot about values.
Wow.
There are a lot, no?
Well, values in what perspective, like in relationships, for the world, living, like in what way?
Out of the gut, like.
I would say really being true to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So integrity, especially for yourself. Risk taking. So go out, more courage, you know? Are you laughing?
It's too bad people couldn't see the face of Moni about this risk. Sorry.
So having the courage to go for it, and positivity, like optimism, like going out and really enjoying life.
Really interesting. Thank you so much. I think with these 3 values, we're coming to an end.
Thank you.
The sun is gone, so it's getting to an end. You need to go to the train, Moni.
Yeah.
So we're closing here. And thank you so much from my side that you were here today. It was really interesting and inspiring to talk with you about the goal setting. I think courage and the other topics were a little bit in behind, but I was really happy to having you. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you to you both for inviting me.
Yeah, also from my side, thanks for the openness, and also thanks for listening out there. I hope you could take something for you, and see you next time.
Yeah. Yes.